Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. This is Football at 4.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Get your game on at the Gallery Bar, Book, and Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. We're live here today at Ocean inside the Gallery Bar, Book, and Games. You can stop out every Monday and see us live for the football season. Go to Gallery in Ocean Casino Resort and go for the win. For more information, visit oceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to play. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll give away tickets to the Russell Peters Act Your Age World Tour. That's coming to Ocean on August 20th, so we'll have that for you. We'll give away those tickets this hour. Right now, it's Football at 4. Geoff Mosher from Inside the Birds podcast and InsideTheBirds.com is stopping by to give us some thoughts on what he saw on Friday night, and I guess some insight on this trade that just went down. JJ Arcega-Whiteside is heading to Seattle for safety Ugo Amadi, and it looked like Amadi was going to get waived by Seattle, and I guess you had Howie Roseman make a call real quick and say, hey, we've got some garbage. If you want ours, we'll take yours. What's the deal here, Geoff Mosher? What do you know?
Yeah, basically you nailed it on the head there. It's funny, Adam Kaplan and I had spoke this morning. Adam said, you'll never guess what's going on. I heard from another team that Howie was calling. He said he had heard that Howie was calling looking to trade JJ Arcega-Whiteside. And I said, for what? Who was going to take him? And then I wound up talking to a different team than Adam, and the person I spoke to said he had heard through the grapevine the same thing, that Howie was calling around. So here, and it's not that odd of a trade in the fact that we've seen these kind of moves before from other teams and from the Eagles. I still remember. I'm sure there's a more recent example, but I remember when they traded a running back, David Fluellen, for a kicker, Cody Parkey, and Parkey actually wound up having a pretty good year for them. I remember when they traded. Who was it that they traded? They got the pass rusher from BC who was like a second-round pick once, Landry. Remember that? Harold Landry? Does that sound right? Eli Harold? That's the one. Eli Harold from Boston College. This was like a year or two ago. I forget who they traded for him. But it was sort of like, I'm going to waive this guy, you're going to waive that guy. Maybe it works out for me. Maybe it works out for you, and we'll see what happens. You would imagine if the Eagles were going to make this kind of a trade, it would only be for either a safety or a tight end, the two positions where they're thin at.
Yeah, I did see somebody tweet the other night. I don't remember who it was, but like, hey, this second week of the exhibition season has traditionally been when player-for-player trades kind of happen, so that you can get them into your camp or to your possession for the next couple of games. So that happens today. Now, I don't know how much background you have on Ugo Amadi, but he is a safety who has experience. He's not one of these guys that has very little experience. He has played the last 2 years in Seattle and has actually, got some playing time. It's not like he's been a guy on the practice squad. So he seems a little bit more valuable than what JJ Arcega-Whiteside has given you.
Yeah, he played 55% of the defensive snaps last year, 54% 2 years ago. So you're right. He has contributed more to his team than JJ Arcega-Whiteside was contributing to the Eagles. Now you'd have to go back and look. Is he contributing positively? Because certainly teams that struggle, and Seattle has the last year and a half, are putting players on the field that aren't necessarily good players. So the bottom line is this. The Eagles have Marcus Epps. He is their best coverage safety. You can make an argument, and it's yet to be seen because he has to play a full year, that he is their best safety. Anthony Harris is just okay. Jaquiski Tartt was brought in here to compete. He's been A, slow to learn the defense, B, away from the team and up until recently for personal reasons. So he's not a lock to make the team at all. Kevon Wallace has been a disappointment. Up to today, their biggest sort of like surprise or good story at safety outside of Marcus Epps is Reed Blankenship. Right. Who's a rookie free agent from Middle Tennessee State. So this is clear. And, of course, Josiah Scott, as we talked about last week, is a guy who can play safety and has moved from playing corner to also playing safety. You saw that in the preseason game the other night against the Jets, and he would make the team right now if the roster was decided today. So this was a smart area for Howie to say, I'll just take a body that's got some experience and see if it works.
Yeah, and so, bringing in a safety, as you just mentioned, that's probably, I don't know, after watching Friday night, where is a spot that they have more questions maybe than the safety spot?
It's so funny. I was talking to another team today that's just trying to get a feel for what the Eagles are doing, and as it relates to this person's own team. And, the question was, well, where would the Eagles be looking to upgrade outside safety? And I said, well, really outside of that, just number 3 tight end and big running back. That's really it. And you don't have to go and make moves to upgrade those positions. Those are kind of positions that when the waiver wire cutdowns happen, the last one, and you see all these guys who are now unemployed that are veterans that have some experience, and you can take a chance on. And so those, you don't necessarily have to go out there and look to make a trade to upgrade it.
All right, Moshe, let's look back to Friday night and get some thoughts from you. You wrote about it over at InsideTheBirds.com. Let's start on offense and Hurts. We've been kind of laughing that, hey, Sam Bradford had that 10 for 10 night. He had the perfect rating, and everybody went crazy. Was this reminiscent of that night? Was Jalen Hurts about as good as you can anticipate that night?
Jalen Hurts was good. He spread the ball around. The whole narrative leading up to the game was all he does is target A.J. Brown. So I thought it was pretty fascinating that he got 0 targets to A.J. Brown in that series. The Jets play a cover 3, pretty reminiscent of what San Francisco did when Robert Saleh was there. And they kind of stayed true to that. So they played a lot of 7-man box, leaving, more people up front and less people in coverage. And I think the Eagles took advantage of it. Maybe they thought the Eagles were going to run a lot like last year, or maybe they were just working on their base defense. I don't know, but I thought Jalen was decisive, spread the ball around, made good throws. When you play a cover 3 team that's only going to play one safety deep, you like to work the seams. So you notice Dallas Goedert caught that touchdown pass that was down the left seam. Jack Stoll, 6-yarder down the seam. Watkins caught one of his passes right around the seam area to move the chain. So that was a good job by Jalen, kind of understanding what the defensive structure was and how to attack it. There are a couple of things that I thought could have been better. He rolled out and took that hit. The hit's not his fault. But in my view, there was not pressure there the way he said there was. Lane Johnson was blocking Jermaine Johnson. The pocket got pushed a little bit on the right side. He could have stepped up. He didn't have to roll completely out and then obviously go out of bounds. But other than that, no real complaints there. Miles Sanders caught both of the balls thrown his way. I think that was a good positive too.
Geoff Mosher with us. And Geoff, the verticality of the offense, the last memory in a meaningful game is of the Buccaneers stopping the run and daring Jalen Hurts to beat them with the throw. And then you get in this preseason game. Again, the defense dictates it, but was there something there that you saw on his throws that made you think maybe he's turned a corner and become more improved in his accuracy?
Well, one thing that I thought he did really well on the first play of the game, there was pressure. Sua Opeta let Quinnen Williams get inside him. That flushed Jalen out to the right. And I thought he did an excellent job of keeping his eyes downfield, watching Watkins cross from left to right. Then he set his feet to make the throw. To me, that's it with him, is that when he sets his feet to make a throw, he can make any throw. That's not the question. And the problem is, and every quarterback in the NFL faces this dilemma, not all of your throws are you able to make with your feet set. So sometimes you have to, you don't have to be a running quarterback. You can be Tom Brady, for example, who does a great job of just stepping up into a dirty pocket to buy some time and then resetting his feet. Others, like Aaron Rodgers, throw the ball, no matter, they could be running backwards and they throw the ball really, really well. He's not like that. He needs to have his feet set. And I thought for the most part in that game, he did that.
And I think the narrative might be out there, Geoff, that he's better to the right than to the left. And, of course, the dreaded if he's, don't throw across your body or don't throw back across the field. But do you see that? Is he better rolling to the right and throwing than to the left?
No, I mean, he wouldn't be the first right-handed quarterback to do a better job of, rolling to his dominant hand side as opposed to, like you said, rolling to the left and then trying to throw to the right side of the field. But so I agree with you, but I think that's kind of a common thing on quarterbacks where they roll out.
Yeah, Jeff, and the offense the other night. You mentioned Hurts. Reed Sinnett, his name came up a lot, and you wonder he got an extended look. I guess he didn't really make anybody think twice that there's a competition at all between him and Gardner Minshew. But I guess him and Strong would be the two guys. We didn't see Strong at all. I would imagine you'll see him this week coming up. But I guess for all the plus you heard about Sinnett, I don't know that he really did anything to make anybody feel like, wow, if he had a play, we'd be in good shape.
Yeah, and I'm not sure his head coach helped him out any, even though he was trying to, by saying he might have been a little bit nervous for the game. That's like the last thing anybody wants to hear, that a guy is nervous for a preseason game, So, I mean, it's not like he didn't play college football or anything like that. So I know Nick was trying to be helpful, but I don't think that really was. But it was definitely not for all we had heard about Reed Sinnett throughout the offseason, that was definitely not indicative of what we had heard. But it did show you that he's far and away above Carson Strong in the competition by the fact that Carson Strong didn't get out there. Part of me wonders, guys, because you have to remember they gave Carson Strong almost like, I think, $300,000, $375,000 money in guaranteed. They give him more guaranteed money than you would ordinarily give a rookie free agent. So part of me wonders if they have a plan to try to waive him and then get him back on the practice squad. Anybody who has to claim him would have to pay that guaranteed money, which a team might be willing to do if you see him play pretty well in the preseason. So something makes me wonder, knowing that he's already struggling, if they're just hiding him. Sort of don't play him that much. Don't put a lot of tape out there of Carson Strong. Let everybody think that he's not doing well, which is true right now. He's not. And therefore, we don't have to worry about a team trying to claim him off the waivers when we waive him at the cutdown date.
Yeah, and then I guess another guy, rookie, would be Jergens, who kind of got thrown into this mix pretty quickly. Hey, you're starting, by the way. Get on out there. And I guess the reviews for him, unlike Sinnett, were pretty positive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, I wouldn't compare him to Jason Kelsey, but they have similar traits. Good athletes, can move laterally, can move up and down quickly. You saw him get out on one of the screens and cover up a linebacker, driving back. I thought he was good in pass protection. In the run, well, they didn't run the ball at all, but I mean, he was just active. They ran when the second string came on. So very active. I didn't see him allow too many pressures, but I did see him being able to get his man, especially up in the second level. And that's what you look for at that position.
We predicted that we'd see a lot of Huntley. We saw a lot of Huntley. I mean, what did he show you in that game, Geoff Mosher?
I think Huntley is probably going to remember that game for the rest of his life. I mean, he probably got more carries that game than in his entire career so far total, because they were so down, right? They didn't have Kenneth Gainwell. They didn't have Boston Scott. Miles Sanders, you knew, was only going to play the first few snaps. And then they had just signed a running back like 2 days before that. They weren't going to throw him on the field for, I think he played special teams only, the kid that they signed. So, yeah, Huntley got a lot of run. I think he's got a lot of straight line speed. I don't know that he makes people miss, when he has the ball in his hand. I think he's, more of sometimes tends to be east-west than north-south, like a lot of smaller running backs. Do I think he's going to make the team? No, I don't think he'll make the 53. I think he's got a chance to be back on the practice squad. I just think he's, you get a lot of running backs that can do what he can do. He did catch the ball, okay. So I got no issue with that.
They did mention, you just mentioned Carson Strong, that they gave him, some decent money. And I feel like they did that to a couple of their undrafted guys. They mentioned during the broadcast that Kennedy Brooks was another guy that they gave decent money to. And, I don't know that he showed all that much either. But he is one of the bigger backs that they have of the group of guys they currently have.
One of the or the only?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I guess. So if he's got a shot to make it, it's because of that. But again, you just mentioned they didn't run the ball all that much, at least with the first unit out there.
Right. I mean, look, I think they're keeping three running backs. I think we all know who the three are. It's going to be Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott.
Right.
Probably stash one or two more on the practice squad. Right, if they need one, that's all I see. I think Kennedy Brooks is probably, at best going to be on the practice squad, at worst, unemployed.
Let's flip over to the defense. A lot of people really raving about what they saw from Jordan Davis, and I guess, your first look at him in live action on the field, he certainly made an impact, not statistically speaking, but the tape shows that he was a problem for the Jets.
It's exactly what I wrote, that he is going to be a guy who can make an impact, but you're not going to box score scout him. You're not going to be like, oh, look at all the hurries and pressures and sacks that he got. No, it's not going to be like that. He got I believe it was his pressure initially that led Zach Wilson to leave that pocket on that scramble where Zach got hurt with the knee injury. There are times where you see multiple offensive linemen trying to block him. There was one snap where the center, I think he's a Penn State guy, McGovern was it, who just completely could not block him. I mean, he was getting driven back. So, I mean, that's the type of player he's going to be. The biggest question you have with him is, can he – I don't know what their expectation is for him for snaps per game, and I can't imagine he's going to be anything other than a first and second down player to begin with against the run. But can he kind of maintain can he maintain the level of play when he's playing for 4 quarters at that size? Right? I mean, it's all good when you get out there with the first team and you can push some guys around for 2 minutes. But when you start running you left and they start running you right, do you lose your pad level? Do you lose your technique? Can you chase down? You saw him chasing down Zach Wilson even after that pressure. Can he do that in the second, in the third, and in the fourth quarter? That is going to be a challenge for him early on.
Yeah. Jeff, he was bringing guys side to side with him. I mean, the running back was trying to get around him, and he just couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, you could see how he's a good 2-gap player. I mean, he's literally got the guy in front of him going left, right, he's moving the defender around like a rag doll saying, I got this side of the A-gap covered, I got that side of the A-gap. I'm all good here. But, and I saw he'll open up things for the guys on the defensive line. He'll be an important player. It just makes you want, but you hope that he can, as the season goes on, be a guy who's also helping you out in the fourth quarter, not just the first quarter.
Right. Conditioning. Geoff Mosher with us talking about Jordan Davis a little bit and that trickle-down effect, if you will, Jeff, too. I mean, because we saw one sequence there where it looked like a Georgia play all over again. Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean sort of working in tandem, working in concert together to make sure that, they bring the guy down. And Nakobe Dean showed me more than I actually expected. I thought he flashed a little bit in that game. I'm curious what your thoughts were of him. And, of course, White had the big play there. Kazir White picking off Zach Wilson. That got everybody excited early.
Listen, this is what the Eagles linebackers need to do. I mean, there's no question. Defense in general, they've got to create turnovers. They did not do a very good job of that last year, the year before. And in order to be a top defense, you got to be a takeaway defense. So, I will say the quarterback, what was it, Wilson, who just kind of threw it to Kazir White?
Right,
at least he caught it, because we've seen a lot of those just get dropped. So that was good. And I thought Nakobe Dean had about 5 tackles, and he only played a quarter. So that if we're projecting there, it's like 20 tackles in a game.
Right.
There's a couple of times, I know there's a play that sort of made the rounds on Twitter where the tight end tries to trap block up the middle, and he just pushes the guy right back, and then it trips up the running back. So that was a good play there. So I thought he played okay. I think it's really hard to evaluate some guy on so few snaps, but I thought he was pretty good. He's all right.
One of the things Gil and I brought up earlier in the show is that at one point, you used to think like the Eagles were so thin at linebacker. Now there's almost a surplus there.
Yeah, they have. We have to see exactly how good these guys are. They got to break the streak, Pete, that they've had here of the 1-year linebacker who turns out to be a kind of a dud, right? And it's not just linebacker; it's almost like linebacker/safety. You can go back to Corey Nelson and Will Parks, and last year was supposed to be that guy from San Diego, and he just retired, Jatavius White, and then Eric. Oh no, that was 2 years ago. Last year was the guy from Minnesota, Eric Wilson, who they released halfway through the year. They really have done a bad job trying to do the 1-year stopgap thing, and so you got to hope Kazir White is different in that regard and can end it. But until I kind of see it, I'm going to always say, they got numbers now. They're a little bit better on paper now. But let's see it actually materialize. But T.J. Edwards had a great camp. So if they can't knock him out of first team, then at least you can say T.J. Edwards has been playing well for them.
I was worried you were going to bring up either of the Bradleys, Stewart or Sean. I mean, either one of those would have been bad.
Oh, man. That was Stewart was a long, long time. Those guys were actually draft picks. I was talking about their 1-year free agent stopgap signings.
One-hit wonders.
Linebacker
Ernie
spot.
Sims would fall more into that category. Ernie Sims would definitely be one of those.
Well, the linebacker
Takeo
spot
Spikes.
definitely has talent as opposed to where you're watching guys who, I give Alex Singleton a bunch of credit, but my gosh, I mean, he started way too many games for this team the last couple of years.
Mike, Nate Gary started games for this team.
Yes, Nate Gary, another lousy Nebraska kid.
Hey, now.
All right, we've got the Inside the Birds guys, of course, every day, football at 4, all this week, getting you ready for the Eagles and Browns. What are some of the things to look for this week? Because obviously a lot of starters might not play, so we'll get more intel from the guys from Inside the Birds tomorrow during football at 4. Adam Kaplan was here. He's going to be in Cleveland, by the way, for the game on Sunday. So we'll have his reporting on Friday at 5 for football at 4. He will join us from Cleveland at 5 o'clock on Friday during football at 4. He'll be here tomorrow. Mosher's back Wednesday. But all right, we'll talk to you then.
All right, Mike. Take care. See you, Pete.